Give the floor to Mr. Tom Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's the nature of the crises on which I brief you and the increasingly challenging context in which humanitarians work that my updates to this council tend to be sobering. But today I'm in a position to share a more positive trajectory. I will, of course, temper that hope with caution and realism. The improving picture I'll describe is following years of conflict and neglect. The scars are deep and the progress is fragile. When I visited Syria in December 2024, just days after the fall of the Assad regime, I encountered a country anxious, traumatized. The damage of the war was staggering, the humanitarian needs overwhelming. I visited Syria again last month with my UNDP colleague, Alexander De Croo. We saw progress. Millions of people are returning home, markets growing, more lights coming back on, the humanitarian reset working. And we heard from President al-Shara a compelling vision for Syrian-led recovery and growth, the restoration of essential services, the creation of conditions to allow people to leave the camps and return home. I believe that this approach, building on the real trust and partnership nurtured with us over the past year, is the right basis for our shared efforts. We're aligning our humanitarian plans with the No Camp and No Mine initiatives, ambitious efforts to help people go home and to accelerate demining. We jointly launched the Humanitarian Needs and Response Plan on April the 2nd, the first such plan launched inside Syria and with the Syrian government. And following our visit, the government of Syria has extended the use of dollarization for an additional 6 months. This will ease financial and liquidity constraints and contribute to faster and more efficient implementation of our plan. There is also an important opportunity, as you heard, the reason, in fact, for our joint visit, to demonstrate that the reforms of UNAT and the Humanitarian Reset can support what some experts call the humanitarian development peace triple nexus, or in simpler terms, working together to save lives and create opportunity. The transition away from emergency humanitarian need into development, resilience, recovery is essential. We must move faster to turn this vision into reality. Meanwhile, humanitarians are stepping up. Our partners are helping over 200,000 returnees each month with food, healthcare, water. In Q1, we disbursed $84 million from our recently merged country and cross-border pooled funds, with 72 local partners receiving almost 2/3. We are ensuring that women-led organizations are at the center of decision-making, strengthening our evidence-based, hyper-prioritized response. And this month, we've allocated a further $146 million of funding from the US government to 17 life-saving projects. They will all start implementation with facilitation support where needed from the authorities by the 1st of May, backed by our new accountability and impact team to ensure robust oversight, risk analysis, strengthened accountability. Mr. President, and now the realism. I want to share 3 major risks to this progress. First, external. Conflict across the region in March put immense pressure on Syria. As of April the 19th, nearly 300,000 people had crossed to Syria from Lebanon, overwhelmingly Syrian nationals, adding to the estimated 1.6 million Syrian refugees who've returned to Syria from across the region since the end of 2024. They need food, shelter, and other support. And while the ceasefire between Iran and the United States and Israel holds, tensions in the region remain high. The risk of ongoing disruptions to critical supply routes persists, threatening to destabilize the fragile internal momentum and potentially setting back return and recovery efforts by years. Second risk, the internal challenges remain tough. Needs are still very high. 13 million need food, 12 million need clean water, nearly 13 million need healthcare. In the northeast, 100,000 displaced across Al-Hasaka and Aleppo governorates, services gradually stabilizing there as updated security arrangements are put in place, but gaps remain, e.g. electricity, especially in Kobani, where 400,000 returnees are waiting for help. And movements remain still restricted. We got 30 trucks in on the 16th of March. In the south, 20,000 plus people have returned to their home areas, but over 150,000 remain displaced. We've been able to reach in the south close to 400,000 people a month since July. Access to Asweda has stabilized, but remains fragile. And damage to power transmission has hit water, health, and schools. Also internally, recent flooding across 5 governorates has affected more than 20,000 people, many already displaced. More than 3,500 shelters have been damaged or destroyed. Thousands of hectares of vital wheat crops are at risk. Mines, unexploded ordnance continue to exact a horrific toll, killing more than 50 people, injuring over 100 since mid-March alone. Nearly 1 in 3 victims, a child. So our efforts to clear those mines are essential. Ensure people can return home voluntarily, children go to school, and families earn a livelihood. The latest UNHCR survey of refugees in neighboring countries illustrates these combined challenges. 18% plan to return home in the coming year. While this is up from 2 to 3% in 2024, it's down from 27% in January 2025. The barriers cited most: lack of livelihood, lack of economic opportunities, lack of housing, and localized insecurity. Third challenge, funding cuts. In 2025, the plan was 42% funded, led by the EU, UK, US, Germany, KSA, Qatar. Across Syria, over 400 health facilities, 20%, were hit by that shortfall. Over 300 suspended, affecting over 7 million people. And now, amid ongoing cold weather and floods, our winter support is at only 28% of what's required. And WFP need $200 million in 6 months to avoid large-scale suspensions. So, Mr. President, my 3 asks of the Council. First, sustain this diplomatic energy. Use your influence to resolve the remaining flashpoints, allow people to return safely, voluntarily, with dignity, inside Syria and across the region. Success, of course, hinges on the inclusion of all Syrians, and women and girls are critical to this transition. Second, support vital humanitarian operations. Our full requirement is $2.9 billion, but to sustain the fragile progress I described, to keep hospitals running, families fed over the next 6 months, we require a hyper-prioritized $1.5 billion, the absolute minimum needed to prevent a reversal of gains. We're at just 15% funded. With the top 26 donors so far, the US won 60 million, EU 64, Japan 40, Switzerland 30, Germany 29, Canada 27, Denmark 22, the UK 20. Third, invest in Syria's future with sustained, predictable support for recovery and development. The world needs a success story right now, and Syria could be that story. But only if this council helps us overcome the 3 risks I outlined, through sustained diplomatic engagement, immediate humanitarian support, and long-term investment in the future. We must stay the course. Thank you.
I thank Mr. Fletcher for his briefing.